There's something ineffably romantic about French farmhouse decor. It's the poetry of imperfection, the way chipped paint and aged wood feel comforting rather than careless. This style draws from rural France, blending rustic textures with refined accents. It's approachable, grounded, and endlessly customizable, making it ideal for DIY enthusiasts. Begin by grounding your space in soft, muted hues. Think antique white, linen, stone gray, and faded blue. These colors create a serene canvas and mimic the sun-washed tones of the French countryside. Paint thrifted furniture, repurpose cabinets, or update old trim to instantly evoke understated elegance without breaking the bank. For that aged authenticity, try adding plaster-inspired texture to your walls using joint compound or chalk paint techniques. Lime wash is another affordable option that brings warmth and movement to surfaces. With a little experimentation, your walls can radiate old-world charm and serve as a perfect backdrop to your rustic elements. A classic French farmhouse table is long, welcoming, and worn with time. Build your own using reclaimed wood or even old pine boards from the hardware store. Distress the surface with chains, sandpaper, and whitewash to achieve a time-worn effect. This will become your anchor, both functional and visually grounding. Uniform seating isn't necessary here. In fact, a mix of styles, ladderbacks, cane seats, and painted finds adds to the charm. Visit thrift shops or estate sales to collect mismatched chairs and give them a cohesive look with similar finishes or fabrics. The result? Effortless elegance on a dime. One of the easiest ways to add French flair is with fabric. Think grain sack stripes, antique linen, and gauzy curtains. Can't afford authentic textiles? Tea-stain inexpensive drop cloths for a vintage look. Sew your own table runners, pillows, and slipcovers to evoke the rustic romance of Provence. To get that classic patina, learn how to foliage your furniture and decor. Use waxes, chalk paint, vinegar solutions, or even simple sandpaper. The goal is to create pieces that look like they've lived through generations of storytelling. And it's fun, like archaeology with a paintbrush. French Farmhouse Beauty lies in celebrating the imperfect. Cracks, nicks, faded paint, these aren't flaws, they're features. So don't rush to repaint or refinish everything. Learn to love the history in each scratch. It's what gives your space its soul and makes it unmistakably yours. Transform tired kitchen or bathroom cabinets with a simple paint job and new hardware. Opt for creamy whites, light sage, or dove gray. Add aged bronze or antique brass pulls. If you're ambitious, replace doors with open shelving or chicken wire fronts for a charming, cottage-style effect. Thrift stores, flea markets, garage sales, even Facebook Marketplace, these are goldmines for DIY decorators. Look for candlesticks, ceramic pitchers, vintage frames, or wooden crates. Even if they're chipped or outdated, remember, you're not buying perfection, you're buying potential. French Farmhouse Decor honors humble materials. Group simple ceramics or glass bottles on open shelves. Reuse old mason jars, clear wine bottles, or weathered jugs. These add texture and nostalgia without costing a fortune. Less is more here, curate sparingly and let every piece breathe. Lighting is where function meets beauty. Look for wrought iron chandeliers, distressed wall sconces, or beaded fixtures. You can find affordable dupes online or create your own from secondhand pieces. Add candles for ambience. Candelabras or taper holders bring old-world elegance for just a few dollars. Can't afford reclaimed wood? Try vinyl plank flooring with a rustic oak look, or paint existing wood floors with checkerboard or whitewash patterns. Even large jute or sisal rugs can mimic the texture and warmth of a French farmhouse. Focus on tones that feel time-worn and natural. Toile fabric, scenic prints in blue, red, or black, is quintessentially French. Use it sparingly, a few throw pillows, a lampshade, or framed fabric panels. It's dramatic but elegant. Find remnants at fabric outlets or repurpose old curtains to bring a whisper of the French countryside to your space. Decorate your mantel with layered mirrors, candle holders, and salvaged frames. Find large vintage mirrors secondhand and paint them gold or chalk white. These pieces bounce light and add that antique charm effortlessly. Pair with greenery or dried lavender for the full French country mood. Whether as open shelving, accent walls, or headboards, reclaimed wood is your best friend. It adds texture and tells a silent story. Can't find any nearby? Distress new wood with paint, sanding, and staining. It's all about achieving that raw, imperfect authenticity. Create a bedroom that whispers serenity. Use light linens, vintage frames, and layered bedding. A painted iron bed or a tufted headboard from a thrift store sets the tone. Add an antique trunk or small side table and you've crafted a personal chateau retreat. Paint is the DIYer's secret weapon. Transform entire spaces with 1 gallon of creamy white or dusty blue. Use it on walls, furniture, and even floors. Don't forget to lightly distress or layer tones to mimic natural wear. Instant French countryside for under $30. Dried lavender, eucalyptus, olive branches, French farmhouse decor is full of botanical elements. Forage from your backyard, or buy bundles at farmers markets or discount stores. Use old pitchers as vases. Keep arrangements simple and wild. It's all about effortless, seasonal beauty. Every farmhouse deserves a quiet nook. Use a vintage chair, small table, and reading lamp to form your corner of calm. Add a thrifted throw, a linen cushion, and a stack of old books. Let it feel lived in and loved, a space for quiet poetry and warm coffee. Architectural interest doesn't have to be expensive. Install beadboard or board and batten paneling using MDF and paint. These add dimension and cottage charm without high cost. Even one wall can transform a room, especially when painted in a soft chalky hue. Swap out generic knobs and pulls for antique-style brass or ceramic options. These can be found affordably online or at salvage shops. Hardware may seem minor, but these tactile details elevate the entire feel of a room, making it look custom, even couture. Layering is key to cozy French style. Use gauzy throws, cotton quilts, or fringed blankets across chairs and beds. Stick to soft hues and gentle patterns. It's not about matching, it's about mood, warmth, welcome, and a whisper of history in every fold. Mix antique frames, black and white photos, floral prints, and even old letters into a thoughtful gallery wall. Thrift stores and flea markets offer great finds. Keep frames distressed or repainted in neutrals. It should look collected over time, not bought in one day. You can Frenchify even the tiniest bathroom. Add a small gilded mirror, linen hand towels, or a painted cabinet. Use baskets for storage and old apothecary bottles for charm. A soft scent, lavender or verbena, completes the sensory story. Create a warm welcome with a DIY bench, vintage hooks, and a narrow console table. Add a woven basket for shoes or a mirror above the console. It's the first space guests see, and the perfect spot to introduce your home's rustic charm. Don't neglect your outdoor spaces. Add a small bistro table, string lights, and terracotta pots with herbs or lavender. Use reclaimed wood for simple planters or DIY shutters. Suddenly, you've created a slice of southern France, without ever leaving your yard. French homes engage all the senses. Simmer lavender, rosemary, and lemon on the stove. Use essential oil sprays or candles with earthy, herbal tones. Scent is the invisible poetry of a space, subtle, emotional, and unforgettable. The French farmhouse is never generic, it reflects its owner. Display meaningful heirlooms, handwritten recipes, or flea market finds you adore. It's these personal layers that give a home character. Make it yours, make it matter. With just a little imagination and heart, you can craft a French farmhouse haven full of patina, poetry, and purpose. This isn't about recreating a magazine spread, it's about building a soulful space where beauty blooms from simplicity. On a budget, with your hands, you can shape rooms that feel rich in spirit. Because in the end, the most beautiful homes are the ones that reflect the lives lived within them.